Meet Natalie. Natalie loves books.
This is your brain on books. Any questions? And this is Angela. She's a very serious jazz singer.
Shooby-dooby-dooby-doop-doop-doo. And sure, we both like to stay informed, but this world sometimes, am I right? You know what we need? 30 minutes of meditation.
Pop culture meditation.
So we're here to remind you.
We get it. You're smart. But right now, take a deep breath and put your books down. Hey, Angela.
Hey, Natalie.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good. I'm a little frazzled.
Are you?
A little bit. I've been having a nice little Sunday.
Yes.
And we were recording a little earlier than we do today. And I'm a stepmom now to two beautiful teenagers. And
Yes.
I wanted to watch what we were discussing today with Jackson because he'd never seen it. So I wanted him to sleep in and then watched it. And I really thought this movie was an hour and a half, because usually in the 90s, these movies were like an hour and a half. But it's not. So I cut it real close
Yeah.
to Showtime.
It's
and I'm sorry I was running a little late today.
That's okay. That's
Gang.
okay. You got
But it was
here.
to hang out with my stepson. So I
That's
can't apologize. I
nice.
won't apologize for that. I
Nope,
just won't
you
apologize for that.
Don't apologize for that.
I won't.
Don't
Not
apologize.
sorry about that one.
Right. No, don't
All the
apologize
time
for
is
that
precious.
one.
Precious
Yep.
times.
So welcome to Put Your Books Down, everybody.
Yes.
Who's tuning
welcome.
in to hear us.
Thank you for doing that also.
Yeah.
And you're good? You're good?
I'm good. Yeah, we had a real relaxing weekend. We had to travel last week, so we're back and everything's cool. And literally, because we got a new HVAC system.
I knew, I didn't want to bring it up until
and then,
it was done.
Can I tell you, though, the
Our
irony
AC went out.
The irony
Or the
is
heat.
It was the heat and the AC unit,
Yeah.
yes. The irony of it is it was freezing here, and then we had to replace the thing, and then it got to 70 degrees.
Same.
So
it's like that here. It's
then
just
we were
gross.
turning on the AC. We're like, what in the heck is going on?
Nasty.
Yeah. So anyway, no complaints though. I mean, how can you complain? That's just
not complaining,
baby. That's just
this is out of our control. It is climate. It's out of our control.
Girls gotta have heat.
You gotta have your heat and I gotta bump my AC.
Same.
Year round.
100%.
It's called hormones, people.
It is called hormones.
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 All caps. So I also love that yellow color on you. I think that's
thank
a very
you.
nice, very
Thanks,
flattering color on you.
Thank you.
Really making your highlights pop.
Yeah, I just got the new lights.
Yep, I can see that. That's popping today.
Thank you.
My hair is getting so gray on top that it's resisting color, as Joey has told me.
That is.
So we have to, quote, bring out the big guns next time. No problem. I'm not upset. Okay.
Do you normally get multiple colors put into your hair, or do you just do highlights?
I used to do highlights, but since as of the menopause / aging
transition,
process, yes, we do a darker. We do dark on the top and then kind of some highlights. But now it's just I think I'm gonna have to get a full head permanent. We're fighting the permanent, which is what I don't really know what that means, but I know that it's more hardcore than just highlights. But that's okay. Hey, not complaining.
Welcome.
Life is good.
Welcome.
Everything is cool. Honey, you are behind me as far as menopause.
Water's just, I know, but I've been dyeing my hair
me too.
All colors.
But it's
forever.
If I didn't do anything, I would look like I sold dream catchers. Which is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay? It's just that's not my look that I would voluntarily want to allow to just transition into. I'm going to fight the fight. And I respect.
Same.
But I'm not that. I'm just not cute with the grays yet.
Same.
I'm not there yet.
Me neither.
We all get there when we get there. And I'm just not there yet. All right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you.
Okay. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today that we are not supposed to fucking talk about.
Whoa.
Sorry, Darren.
F-bomb, baby.
But you have to, we have to really acknowledge that we're breaking the two most important rules of this club that we're in, that I guess we hadn't told anybody that we made our own club. But today we're going to talk about Fight Club.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not sorry about it. We're not sorry. No, we're rule breakers.
We are.
First and foremost.
Well, and I mean, we're not the ones causing all the mayhem, so it's
No,
it's
but I
fine.
would like I would have I think that in I think I honestly
Hmm.
I think that in my early 30s I would have joined a fight club.
Because you needed.
I was just I was mad a lot and I but not like just internally and I used to get so mad that I would punch the wall
Mm, hmm,
and I was like, "Huh,
hmm,
either I could punch myself in the face, which is
right.
very big theme in this movie,
Yes.
or I could just meet someone and or sort of meet someone as we
Uh-huh.
will discuss
Yes.
and hit them because they want me to and it feels good. I've never hit anybody.
Right,
So,
right. I've never hit
have you
anybody
ever hit
either.
anybody?
Mm-mm. No.
Me either. Have
I've
you ever
never no.
slapped anybody? I can't remember.
I
I'm worried that I
I
have.
have. I have.
I haven't. I don't.
I've always
I don't think. I
mm,
don't. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one, but I
Okay, fair.
will say that there have been some kicks in
Mm,
areas between
crotch
legs.
kicks.
Yeah. I've definitely done a crotch kick.
That's
Yeah.
honestly, I salute you for that.
Right. I know.
Congratulations. Yep,
You're welcome.
deserved it, I'm sure.
Yep.
So we're gonna talk about 1999's movie Fight Club by
Yes.
David Fincher, which
Mhm.
I don't. There's not a David Fincher movie that I haven't really enjoyed.
What are the other
He
David
did
Fincher
Seven.
movies? Oh.
Seven. He did. I think the Zodiac Killer.
Mm,
Um. Anyway, a lot. It's just he's really good at those thriller movies that with the twists and the turns
right.
and but Fight Club was the book
Yes.
by and I read a different book by Chuck I would never say his last name
I don't know how
properly.
to say it.
Okay. Chuck
That guy.
P. Starts with a
Chuck
P.
P. Yeah.
Blah, 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 look.
Chuck.
And anywho, I read
Yeah.
a different book by him, but I never read Fight Club. But
Okay.
this so
I'm
it's
gonna
not an
read the
original screenplay, but
I'm
it's a
gonna read the
yeah,
synopsis for us.
yeah.
Yes. Sorry to
All right.
interrupt you there. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Just
Well, I'm
you
coming
just
in
you were
hot
just
today
you
because
were
I'm all
going on.
hyped up and frazzled. So you just
All right.
get in there.
So here is, and I'm gonna ask you for your rewrite after I read this, if you
Okay.
can on the fly.
Okay.
A depressed man, Edward Norton, suffering from insomnia, meets a strange soap salesman named Tyler Durden, played by Brad Pitt, and soon finds himself living in his squalid house after his perfect apartment is destroyed. The two bored men form an underground club with strict rules and fight other men who are fed up with their mundane lives. Their perfect partnership frays when Marla, Helena Bonham Carter, a fellow support group crasher, attracts Tyler's attention. And I feel like
I feel like that's not really it started off accurate,
this is
but
like
I don't
factual, but it's not addressing any of the themes.
which actually that's probably good because then people can go into that movie and
Spoilers.
not know because there's another thing
Spoilers.
about this movie. We're gonna have to have spoilers. So if you've never seen Fight Club,
Spoilers.
don't listen to this until you've watched it. Okay? Because
You're gonna,
everyone deserves to have the full experience.
which
So
I
just turn it
did.
off right now. And
And
and we had predicted that Angela was going to hate this movie.
yes, yes, yes.
That was
And
like
then,
the whole
mm-hmm,
thing is
mm-hmm,
why we are
yeah,
getting to do this. And I've always loved this movie, not just because everybody loves Brad Pitt, but I love David Fincher movies. And also it's a really cool
yep,
late 90s
yes,
movie. And
for
Edward
sure.
Norton is and Brad Pitt co-star with Helena
Bonham
Bonham Carter,
Carter.
and
Yep,
she's my like of my fashion icon in this movie. I mean,
yeah.
her
Even
hair,
the
her
hair.
makeup, her
Okay.
I loved
Oh,
all of it. I
wow.
can't pull that off, but
Right, right.
if I could have
Not many
in
of us
that time,
can.
I like a matted, like grungy look.
Okay. Oh, I feel
It's like
you.
grungy
I gotcha.
with the like she had
Oh
like
yeah, she's
purple
got that
eyeshadow
smoky,
and
yeah,
smoky eye,
dirty.
and she can do a dark lip. I can never do a
Mm-hmm.
dark lip.
Mm,
And her platform shoes with her little it's like it was very grunge, late 90s, like early 2000s
yes.
punk, but cool, like chic almost.
Yeah. With all
Big
those.
fluffy Muppet coats,
Yeah,
just fake
and
fur
the
coats.
yeah, and the like thrift store dress
Yes.
and the like
Chokers.
chemises and
Yes.
whatnot. Yeah,
Very it was
chiffon.
just cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
So what would your rewrite be of that?
um
Like your
a
synopsis?
depressed Edward Norton is a
Mhm.
depressed insomniac,
Yeah.
and he is clearly looking for well, he wants to be able to sleep, and, I think it would have been important to note, like, his way. He finally figured out how he could sleep by going to support groups and crying. And then like that release would make him sleep like a baby. Right.
Yes. Yes.
And then he meets Tyler Durden, which is Brad Pitt, on an airplane and becomes enamored, infatuated, like
Yeah.
just putting this he fast friend on a pedestal and like kind of wanted to be this guy, like wanted to be
Mhm.
just like this guy. And then they created this fight club, and then it became on like a completely turned a whole turned into an entirely different thing.
Yes.
And then you wrap up the movie figuring out this resolution of the movie is it's similar to the Shawshank Redemption. I think it's
Mhm.
kind of similar vibes because at the end of this movie, when you realize what's going on, you're like, oh, and you figure it out, you're like, oh my God. And it makes you think back into the movie and be like, oh, I mean, essentially,
Mhm.
I think this is like one of the coolest, most awesomest movies about an imaginary friend.
There it is.
There it
There it
is.
is.
It's like a adult, I mean, I'm sorry, it's like a really cool Drop Dead Fred.
Right. And also I also because there's so much of are we just going to get in right into this? Are we just getting
Just
right
go.
into
We
it?
don't, yeah, I mean, we
I
don't,
mean, people have seen Fight Club or they haven't, whatever. The
right.
some of the themes in this are what made me laugh out loud. Like
It's
it's
satirical too.
it's so satirical and it's about consumerism
Yeah.
and men having
The man,
the man and having like meaningless lives with just jobs that they go to and all you do is just shop in your damn catalogs and buy your IKEA furniture and you just go to your boring job day after
yeah.
day after day and you're
You
just
don't live your life.
you don't live
You're
your
not doing
life.
anything you want to do.
You
You
don't
have all
feel
these
anything.
regrets. You
Yeah,
feel
you have all these
nothing.
you feel
You're
nothing and you
going
have
through the motions
yeah,
and you're
and you have
missing out on the things that you really want to do.
yes.
Right.
And you have no empathy for anybody, no
Right.
compassion, and no one has empathy or compassion for you either.
Right.
And it's just like
You don't matter.
you don't matter and
But
you're
you've
just
made yourself not matter
right.
because you do nothing. You don't care.
Yeah, and and we've all, just succumbed to like, like when he meets Tyler Durden on the airplane and it turns out that he is a soap salesman and he sells this fancy soap to high-end, boutiques and whatnot.
Retailers.
And he charges like $20 for a bar of soap. And then you realize, oh, yeah, this really is like the consumerism thing, And then
Mm-hmm.
my favorite line in the movie, well, because he takes him on, eventually, Ed Norton's character goes on a soap making adventure with Brad Pitt's character. And it turns out that, what, Natalie? The soap is made of what now? Made of what now?
Human fat.
Human fat, right, that they get from like dumpster diving at a liposuction clinic.
Right.
Right. And so they make this fancy soap and then they go and they sell it to the fancy boutiques. And then he goes, it was beautiful. We were selling their fat.
Their fat back to
Wait,
their
I wrote
fat
it.
asses
I
or
wrote
something.
it was beautiful. We were selling rich women's fat asses back to them. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And it's
I
just
love
like,
it.
I know. And it's like, the whole thing is like there is kind of like an anti-woman thing where it's like all like boys, boys, boys.
It's a boys' movie.
It's just
I mean,
it's my notes. Here's what I wrote in my notes. I wrote, rejecting consumerism, reclaiming their masculinity, empty lives, meaningless work. But
it's
then
very anarchy, like
yeah, it's very
anarchist. Yeah.
anarchy. But then and then Edward Norton is the narrator. He starts to realize, well, he has one friend that he goes to see at this support group,
Bob.
Bob. And the support
And this
group,
is, yeah, you go. Sorry.
yeah. The support group is for people who have had their
Testicular cancer.
testicular cancer and they've had their balls removed.
And
So,
some men have to get on hormones for that,
right.
which causes them to form breasts.
Breasticles.
But God, I don't love how many times they say the T word in this
Tits.
one.
It's a
Ugh.
lot.
A lot of,
A
and
lot.
I don't really care for bitch tits.
Oh, I know. It.
And I'm watching this with Jackson. I'm like, that's not cool, right? Nobody can talk like that. You can't say bitch tits. Just, I'm getting, we can laugh right now, but you never can say bitch tits.
That's not going in.
That's not leaving the house,
right.
kiddo. We're not leaving the house with that one. we don't say that. But
Right. Yeah. You don't
no,
wanna be
and
like you
he's
don't wanna go up to somebody and be like, "Calm your bitch tits." You're
yeah.
like, "That's
Oh
just
my
not
god, if someone said that, then I would start Fight Club. I think I would
right."
start a Fight Club in that moment.
Right, I think that we actually, like these guys would say that. That's who these guys are. That's who
Yeah,
they've become. They're like Project Mayhem. They're like so they start this fight club and they start beating the crap out of each other just so they can feel things,
mhm,
basically, right?
yeah. Yes, so they can feel like a rush, to have adrenaline, to feel
Mhm.
like they're actually alive
Yeah,
because they have felt like zombies, like just walking the earth, going through the motions. Nothing has meaning. So they finally are doing things that make them feel things.
right.
So it's all friendly. Like it's very much a brotherhood. It's very
Yeah.
much like the point is not to hurt someone too bad. Like they have, other rules. Like if you have to tap, like everyone's hugging and everybody's fine, shoes, this and that. But the violence in this movie, even in regards to camaraderie and brotherhood, is a lot.
It's astonishing.
It's astonishing. It
Yeah.
is this is an incredibly violent movie
Yep.
without intent for murder
Right.
or intent to kill. It's
Right.
just like we're just being bros
Yeah.
and we're gonna beat the shit out of each other, like to where
Yeah.
we can bear like we're disfigured.
Yeah, like Jared Leto.
Jared Leto.
His poor face.
I had to
I
close
mean,
my eyes.
it was not good.
He
Mm-mm.
developed a snout.
Oh,
I mean, he had a perfect face and Ed Norton beat him so badly.
yeah, it was
Next thing you
bad.
know, he had a snaggletooth and a snout.
I know. It was really,
That's
really
how
bad.
badly he was well, and that's an exception because that was a scene where,
Yeah.
Edward Norton, like, left his body and just, like I think he was jealous of
Yeah.
Tyler or Brad Pitt paying more attention to other people, and it was to get Edward Norton riled up and to do
Yes.
stuff, but he went
Tyler
full out on
basically
that one.
Brad Pitt's character basically screws with Ed Norton the entire time. I mean,
All he
it's
wants to
just
do is make him do bad stuff, but
yeah,
that he doesn't think is bad. He thinks it's him helping people, like,
right.
when he would go to do these things called human sacrifices, that's when Brad Pitt would take Edward Norton and put a gun to a, store owner's head
Yeah.
and say, "What do you wanna do with your life,
Yeah.
tomorrow?" And this person's crying and terrifying, or and
Yeah.
he's like, "If you don't tell me, you're gonna die."
Yeah.
And it's this guy's like, "Well, I wanted to be a vet." And he's like, "Well, tomorrow, if you don't enroll," he takes his driver's license, "I know where you live. If you don't try to be a vet tomorrow in the next 6 weeks, you're gonna die." And he thinks he's doing a good thing
Right. I
for
know.
people.
Well, let me ask you this though.
And
I
I
would that
see
part
it,
yeah,
but I don't.
but
Can't do that.
that's what I was gonna ask you.
Whose
Like on
call is
this
that? Is that your
but
call
well that's
to a stranger? No. Like, "I'm sorry, but there's a lot of who do you think you are in that?" Right?
okay. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna
I get the
ask you.
gesture. I get the
Right.
gesture.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, there's a part of me where I'm like, "Oh, he probably will be a vet now, but he's never gonna be the same because of the trauma he's just experienced, and he's never
Right.
gonna have a good night's sleep.
Right. Yeah. I know.
He's
That's the
gotta tell all his
thing.
friends he almost died."
Yeah. I know.
And
Right?
so it's just that's how like it's those types, and it's like blowing up buildings, but they're empty because it's these the corporations built all this, and it's like
Right.
blowing up the buildings for the credit cards so that everybody can start over and not have debt, but that's chaos. Like it's like mayhem. It's to create chaos
Yeah.
in a world that they feel is really controlled. And a lot of this you're like, yeah, man. I mean, you're not wrong,
Right.
but you can't blow up buildings.
It's the tactics have gotten
It's
so extreme
the
that
form
it's
of
like
execution is just
it's
not.
it's just gone in the opposite direction of where it needed. Like
It's very
they've gone
Unabomber.
yeah,
Uh,
it's very Unabomber.
and
It's very
yeah,
Unabomber.
you
It's
can't do
also
that.
like I was also watching this going like, is this just like the male version of Barbie? Like it was like how it was like the similar theme in Barbie.
That's
Like when
super
the
interesting.
right when the women like
Yeah.
had everything and it was like all women, it was like this is just like the male version of that. Like
That's such a good point.
where we realize like you do end up realizing through Fight Club. We do need to talk about some of the specifics though. Like
Oh, we are.
okay,
But
so
I'm glad we've done our overall
yeah,
themes
I mean,
because
and
then we
I
can
could
go
go
into the
in more
nitty-gritties.
and more about this Barbie thing, but I'm not going to right now because
Right.
we just have to talk about Meatloaf.
We've gotta talk about
We
Meatloaf.
just have to so
Bob.
just
His name is Robert
kick it
Paulson.
off. His name is Robert Paulson. Mhm.
His name is
Yeah. Tell
um,
our listeners what
Bob is Bob was in the testicular cancer support group, and
Right.
he met Ed Norton there, and they became friends. And uh, Bob had to take hormones, which created breasts, like
Big old
big old
knockers. Humongous
bajumbas,
titties.
bajumbas, yeah,
Yeah.
bajangas.
Big old titties.
Um,
Tig old bitties.
uh, yes, yes. And also, side note trivia,
Yep.
that he wore a suit for
Mhm.
that, and it
Mhm.
was made out of bird seed so that it looked really real, like the bazumbas were bird seed. Because
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I thought when the first time I saw this, which was in 1999, um, I thought that Meatloaf had a problem. I thought that was something that was, like, real.
Can I tell you, I used to be a professional bra fitter. Everybody
I know,
knows
you're the only
this.
one that's ever told me what bra size I actually am.
Okay. So when in the biz, we call those kind of breasts pendulous.
What does that mean?
Just means like they sort of sag and they just kind of they're just pendulous.
Oh, like a
They're-
pendulum.
yeah, they kind of sag and
It's unfortunate
yeah,
because,
yeah.
I mean,
Pendulous breasts. Those
boobs aren't really
meatloaf
fair, so
that
I can just tell you that.
those knockers on meatloaf were just, I mean,
And he's
wow.
a big dude. It was just
Right.
those were and
But
but
he
so that
provided
happens if you have to do hormone therapy, and
yeah,
it's just like I can't imagine
right.
for someone that didn't ask for
Yeah.
doesn't
Doesn't
want that
want
for that to
yeah,
happen and
sure.
and
Is
all
that
those
like a
things.
did you ask your doctor friend, if that could really be, like, that dramatic or
I didn't ask. I just
okay, you just
figured I knew
assume?
the answer since I have
Yeah,
all these degrees in
right.
medicine
That's what
behind
I
me,
thought. Okay.
that
Yeah,
I can see how that's absolutely possible
okay.
with
Um,
being in hormone therapy. I just can see that.
sure, right. Yeah.
But so they meet, and Meatloaf, it's played Bob is played by the singer-songwriter musician Meatloaf.
Which I just am like, Meatloaf has always given me so much anxiety, like, I am not a
I
Meatloaf
love
fan.
Meatloaf, and
Yeah, I'm not.
me in case audience member,
Mhm,
the big hit of Meatloaf that
mhm.
I remember was and I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. I won't do anything for love. I will do anything, but I won't do that. That's what I remember.
Well done. I just let that
Huh?
go on. I just let that go on because I wanted
I
more.
knew you had to.
I
You had
know.
to let me do it.
Yeah, no, that was his big hit
Yeah, and
for me
you
too.
just and that music video too. If you
Right.
haven't seen it, look it up, rewatch it. It's
Yeah. Get
like Phantom of the Opera vibes. There's like
yeah.
candelabras.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Yeah.
but he's like a supporting role in this movie, and he did a really good job. I don't think he had much of an acting career after. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he did or not.
Mm,
I know he has passed away, but and that was I was
R.I.P.
really sad about that. But um, his name is Robert Paulson in Bob.
Yeah.
He's an integral part of this movie. He ends up joining Fight Club, like in another like in another way because this starts to spread like all through
It just
wherever
takes
this is.
over.
It
Yes.
takes over. So all of these people are in it, and so he's already in it. And then Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, you know, form an army. But
Mhm.
let's touch on, do you have anything extra on Meatloaf? I don't want to take any of that away from
Well,
you.
do we wanna tell people what happens to Meatloaf? That he or the to Bob?
Yeah,
He
Bob.
dies.
Bob dies
Bob
in the
dies.
movie.
And that's sort of a pivotal point in this movie where
Mhm.
Edward Norton's character realizes like, "Oh my gosh, we've gone too far.
This is out of
This
control.
was a man. This was a person. He was special to me. He comforted me because he would put his head on his breasts and
And
cry,
he would get to release
and then
all
he
of
would
this.
release all of this pent up like
Yeah,
trauma that he
and he would
had,
help him sleep.
and he needed the empathy and the compassion and
Mhm.
everything that Bob provided, and so
Yes. It's very important.
it was very important. This is a huge theme in this movie,
Yes.
and then Edward Norton's character is like, what's his name, Ben?
He doesn't have a name.
Oh, that's right. He's just the narrator.
He's just
That's
the
right.
narrator until we figure out
We
he's
don't
actually
right.
Tyler Durden.
Yeah.
Oh,
Spoiler alert. But
big one. But
but
we already warned everybody.
yeah, we did. But it's a huge turning point because he's like, this has gone on too long. His name was Bob. His name was
His name
Robert
was Robert Paulson,
Paulson, and he was a person, and he was important to me, and we can't keep doing this. And
and
so
this is
then,
what started his transition out of his split
yes,
personalities, like realizing what was going on.
yes, and he starts to realize that this is not cool.
It's
This
not
is not
cool
cool.
because he gets killed by police when they're like, doing these vandalism acts like
Mhm.
this, the army
Yeah, they're
of
gonna go yeah,
mayhem,
it's the mayhem it's the mayhem, yeah.
Project Mayhem.
Project Mayhem. Yeah, Project Mayhem. Yeah, mhm,
So, and that's
mhm,
when that was like the person that died. So
mhm.
that's when like he kind of was snapping out of all this and was like freaking out. He was so and then let's talk about Marla. I really want to talk about
We
Marla.
gotta get into Marla, yeah,
We
yeah.
got to get into
So
Marla.
the whole time that Marla was on screen from the very beginning, I was like, "She's not real. She
Mhm.
fake.
Mm.
She's not real. She's a figment of his imagination. She has to be."
Mhm. Mhm.
And so the whole time I was watching this, I was so confused. I mean, if you watch this for the first time, again, spoiler alerts,
Oh, it's
guys,
so confusing. You have to
you're
watch it very
so
closely. You cannot
confusing.
look at your phone even for
Yeah.
a second. You have
No.
to watch.
You're gonna see those flashes of genitalia on the screen if you pay attention, right?
Yeah. A lot of
Um,
dicks.
yeah, lots of peni. But,
Yeah.
so no, so what was your vibe with, like,
So my
her
vibe
role
with
in this movie?
um I'm a li I'm it's confusing for
It's
me.
confusing,
I
right?
can't settle on one
Mhm.
thing. I think that I mean other than she was cool like but she was this love interest slash
Sex
friend,
interest. Sex
sex
interest.
interest slash friend though.
Yeah,
She
I
was
know.
like all these things
Yeah.
in this movie. Um and when she who was supposed to be Marla in this movie, you're not even ready.
Ooh.
It was cast and she declined because it was too dark. Reese Witherspoon.
Oh my
Can you imagine this
god.
movie if it had been her in
Oh.
this particular film?
Oh my god.
No.
No.
No, no.
No,
David
no,
Fincher
no,
was
no,
like,
no.
"Please no," but the
No.
production company was like, "We want
Mm-mm.
Reese a big name."
Mm-mm. No, they
But
needed
Helena did
somebody
it
she
and
was perfect.
she was perfect and she based her performance on Judy Garland. And David Fincher would often call her Judy on set because that's what she was trying to give, with the addiction. I mean, she was pretending to be Judy Garland.
Oh my god, that makes so much
It
sense
makes so
now.
much sense,
It makes
right?
so much sense.
I know.
One of the
That's what
things
I thought.
I oh my god, one of the things I love is that she at one point she walks out of the, house and she's like, "Gotta get off, gotta get" and she's singing the theme from the Valley of the Dolls,
Yes.
and I was like, "Oh my god," and I had just added that tune to my set. Like, I
That's
just had added it, and I was like, "Oh
it's
my
like
gosh,
you're
this is"
Marla.
it's like I'm Marla. It's like but Judy Garland, that makes so much sense because she's such a tragic character, right?
Yes.
And she's
Yes.
so revered, like, in our world, like, as this icon of
She's an
things. I
icon.
mean, and then she also represents this sexual side to the narrator because he is, again, trying to reclaim his masculinity, and he is trying not to think about having sex with her, but then he keeps imagining, and Tyler is like, "Whatever you do, don't mention me to her.
Right.
Like,
He
don't
doesn't
mention me to her."
right.
And he
Right.
and
Because in the
Tyler is
movie,
like,
it's actually Tyler, it's Brad Pitt
yeah,
that's
Brad Pitt
doinking her,
is
and
doinking
they're
her.
like, it's screaming and all of this like
Yes.
it's just and
Yep. And she comes
it's an
down the stairs.
enough,
She
it's just
comes
a lot.
she
And
comes
in the filming of this, the two like Brad Pitt and Helena, they had to record for like 3 days sex sounds.
Oh my god,
Like
how
with their clothes
funny.
on, they just like recorded. They were never
Can
like
you
naked together.
even can I
And they
pl
practiced Kama Sutra poses for the like montagey things like
Oh
fully
my
clothed.
gosh.
Yeah.
I just have to say, Brad Pitt in this movie, this is prime Brad Pitt.
Oh,
This
you know
is
why? This
like
is also Jennifer
primo.
Aniston years, which is was he
Oh,
always did really good. Um, well,
yeah.
he's
Because
not
this
all of his movies are great. Some he's got some stinkers, but
no, there's definitely some
this movie
stinkers. That
though,
one with him and Angelina Jolie where they're that
that's when he was.
couple.
Oh, they wrote it together.
Oh, that was awful.
Not Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That's a
By
good
the
movie.
sea, or
Yeah, by the sea, by the shoot me in the face. Anyway,
ugh, it's awful.
but this is like Brad Pitt when he was like clearly like super into boxing, like snatch years, like
Yep.
he was, and also he was super into tanning beds.
Uh-huh.
Obvs.
Obs,
I mean,
clearly. Yeah.
clearly that's
And
tanning beds
French tips. But I mean,
and
French
French tips and
not French
goatees,
tips,
and he still does the
tips.
goatees. But anyway,
Yeah.
but he was. This was like cool. Like I loved all of his clothes. I loved all of Helena's clothes. I would have worn every I would wear everything that they had on. It was just,
Mhm.
like 90s funky like Delia's catalog,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
you
I
know?
know. For sure.
Really.
Yeah.
But I think that I think he and David Fincher make really good movies. I think they're a good director-actor pairing because I think he does
Absolutely.
a lot of the coolest acting I think of him is with David Fincher. I think well, the movies are cool and it just makes Brad Pitt cool.
Right. And because the movie is not just cool, there's like actually great themes behind it too.
Yeah, I mean it's
It's
deep.
it's deep.
These are deep. And I think
He's
Edward Norton was really great in this movie
God,
too. And he plays,
I gotta tell you, yeah.
this dud, and
And
as a
he's so
human,
good at
and then
that.
you're like, you're not a dud. And
I know.
this was like right after he did American History X.
Oh, wow.
Oof.
I never saw that one.
Don't.
I probably
It's
won't.
hard.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah.
I
Well,
remember watching it because my sister and I liked Edward Furlong, and then that was just a huge mistake.
oh,
It is so violent.
okay.
It's hard to watch.
All right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but Edward Norton was amazing, and I think this like put Edward Norton in like the cool category.
Mhm.
Like he already like his first movie was Primal Fear, and he was nominated for Academy Award. So he was
Dude.
already like they knew he was a good actor, but he was doing like I don't know this stuff. But he's now in like stuff with Brad Pitt and David Fincher.
Wasn't
These are
he
like makes him cool.
when was Edward Norton in that heist movie? Is it Heist?
Rounders,
No, the one where he Oh, no.
Rounders.
Is that Rounders?
I think it was after Rounders.
Okay. And
He
then
was doing a bunch of like just filler movies, and Rounders. I like Rounders a lot. I mean, these are movies I like.
where's the
But
one where he plays like a psychopath and is that Primal Fear? No.
yes, yes,
And he's in jail?
yes. That was
Oh,
his first movie
so creepy. He's
with Richard
so
Gere, and
creepy.
it's terrifying. And the
Ugh.
priest, all that, yes.
Oh,
But that
yes.
he was nominated for Academy Award for that, and
Okay. Well, I
that
have to
put
tell
him
you,
on the map. But
I
he
love
started
him.
after. I know, but I love him as an actor. I think he's
Uh,
a bit pompous in interviews I've heard. Can be
okay.
a
Okay.
little
All
bit,
right. That's
but
fine. Okay.
this put him in like the cool movie zone. He
Yeah.
started getting to do all these like really cool movies,
Yeah.
and like he's in the new like Glass Onion and whatever. He
Yeah.
just kind of got to do a lot
I love him
cooler
as
stuff.
an
Yeah, I
actor.
think he's a great actor. I do
Yeah.
too. So the feeling that you had like when you realized the end of this
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
like because you'd never seen it,
Right.
and I still felt it just rewatching it a minute ago.
I know.
Were you like, duh, or were you like,
Uh-uh.
I would have never guessed that?
I would have never guessed it.
Yeah, me either.
I thought maybe Marla was a figment of his
Mhm.
imagination, and
Mhm.
apparently she is or isn't. I don't know. Like
I
she
think
is. She
subject for
is.
interpretation.
She
Mhm.
is. She is a figment because
She's not real.
she's not real because he must have been, doing things when he was imagining the things that he was doing.
Sure.
You
No.
see what I'm
Yep. Got
saying?
that. Yep. Picked up what you
Um,
put down.
yep. So,
Gotcha.
so
But I
but I
think,
had no idea. And then when it happens and he's like, dude, duh. Like,
yeah, he's like,
obviously.
no shit.
Yeah. But then I didn't really understand the end when he puts the gun in his mouth and then he
He doesn't
kills
shoot.
Tyler,
It's shot through. I think like a part.
his
Like he didn't want to
cheek.
kill like a part of his brain
Yeah. It's like
where
one
that
part of his
lived.
brain where that part
This is
lived. Yeah.
right. Like
Yeah.
this is also like a really cool and fun way to learn about nervous breakdowns.
Yeah.
I guess I think that um that's what we watched 2.5 hours of a like like badass nervous breakdown.
Amen. That's
Okay,
exactly what
I mean this dude is cuckoo choo and no
for
judging, but
100% no judging.
this
But
is like
yes.
he created an army that was like destroying towns like all over the country. So
Yeah.
that's not for nothing.
Right.
But the way this was shot, like the
Yeah.
cinematography and everything about this movie is just like it's just cool.
I know.
I just
It
think
is.
it's a cool movie. But it's an absolute witness of a ginormous nervous breakdown.
Yep.
Dude
For
needs
sure.
to get, and Jackson was like, does he not know about melatonin? And I didn't know how to answer that question because I was like, did people take melatonin in 1999? I don't think so. I don't think it was a thing yet.
Like, does
He's
he
like,
not know
I mean,
about
from the jump, he's like, hey, so he can't sleep. Why is he doing this? Like, he could just take some melatonin. I'm like,
and the
and I was like, I go, brother, I don't know how to answer that question because you're right. You are absolutely
He's
right.
not
It's
wrong.
called tizanidine, and
Yeah, right.
Nat takes that.
His doctor does say, "Hey, just take some valerian root and do Get some exercise.
exercise. And he's like,
How many times have
nah,
you been told that,
nah, I'm
though?
gonna create an invisible friend and destroy the world. Right? I'm gonna fight about it and be a man. I'm a man.
Right. I'm gonna blow up my own
It's like, I'm
apartment. Yeah.
all dude.
Yeah, is exactly.
Which
So,
he was, kind of
the
what we need.
themes in this movie just go on and on and
Yeah.
on. Like, we
Yeah,
could
yeah, yeah.
talk about it. We could be
I
like
know.
film critics about this because we're so smart. We're like Siskel and Ebert, but girls.
Yeah.
But like we're so smart. But
Yeah.
but we can't because
No, we
we have
can't.
to do what?
We have to take a pit stop.
Okay.
And which did we decide on this one? Oh, right. So my dad sent me an article. Bruce sent an article
Okay.
about Brad Pitt's like skin. He has his own skincare line and all that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I got that for Bruce, thinking it would make him feel really cool when he was kind of like in a bad. He was like in a down time, and
Mhm.
it didn't work, but he's fine.
You can send it to
But
me. I'm fine with it.
well,
Is it for men? Is it just
it's
for
for
men?
everybody. But I
Oh,
wasn't. I used some, but it's
yeah.
whatever.
Is it nice?
It's expensive.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Um,
Sometimes it's hard to figure out. People listening, we're really into skincare here at Put Your Books
yes, we
Down.
are.
We
As
really
an
like,
esthetician,
we like our serums. We like our
you need everyone needs a
moisturizers.
serum.
You
Everyone needs a
need
serum.
multiple serums,
It's an investment, but I promise
Yes,
you,
the serums.
you can make them last for months. Like,
Yeah,
it's okay.
they last
But
for a long time. And
I only have a price
exfoliation.
bracket myself.
Yeah.
Yes, exfoliation,
I've been doing like an
hydration.
AHA exfoliator that
Mhm.
is beautiful.
Mhm.
I love the way it makes my skin
The Ordinary
feel.
is a really great line that
Oh,
has like
really?
really excellent price points, and they have a bunch of
Oh,
serums. They're amazing.
oh,
Yeah,
that's so good to
just
know.
saying.
Okay.
If Unless you want to use Laser Care Skin Clinic's
If you
private
just
label, which
right,
we have our
which
own products.
you could just
But
go to lasercareskinclinic.com. Is that what it is?
because obviously,
Lasercareskinclinic.com?
if Brad Pitt lived in Little Rock, he would be coming to Laser Care Skin Clinic because
Clearly,
he does. This article talks about he does laser, he does the microneedling with the radio frequency
which is what
that
Natalie does.
yeah, and the soft wave, which is the tightening treatment that
Which is
I
also what
do
Natalie
for
does.
people. So they found out that he's like doing all of like what Laser Care Skin Clinic does. So I guess what I'm saying is this pit stop is if you want to look like Brad Pitt, come to Laser Care Skin Clinic.
Yes!
We got you.
It's a free ad for
We have
laser
all
care.
the stuff.
But
Yeah.
that's actually really good to know. I mean, I think, if you ever wonder why a person looks so good at their age, they've usually had some things done. And
Well,
I'm
I
not,
think he's had a lower lift, but I
and
think
I'm
to
not
maintain that and to make it look like continue to
really
look good,
think he's
you
had a
have to
lower
do.
lift.
Yeah,
How
Holly and
can
I
you
talked about it.
tell?
Well, there was like he went into hiding for a while, and there was some like swelling. He just like there was when he was with his girlfriend at the beach, and he just looked like he was recovering from like a
Huh,
surgery, like a lower lift. That's
all
just
right.
like
Natalie's spreading rumors.
it's just like our
Um,
opinion. Oh, I don't think
okay,
I'm starting anything,
it's
but
fine.
he he's. I still think he needs to hire a stylist, but
Yeah, you're not taking that
um,
back because I know you were
but I
hard on
think
him. Yeah.
he's looking really good for 60, and I'm loving that I'm loving that the self-care that he's doing. I love that he's maintaining that, and we just so happen to have the same machines at my office.
And isn't it ironic, don't you think, to quote a 90s song, since we're in the 90s, staying true
Mhm.
to our roots,
Yeah,
that in the midst of Fight Club, here we are talking about bad Brad Pitt having facial care treatments and
I know. And you
taking
know that
self-care.
his
That's the
chipped tooth
message. Yeah.
in that movie was
Yeah. Was
real. He
true. Was
removed a
real.
cap from that he'd had fixed to
Oh
fix
my
that.
gosh.
Very much like Jim Carrey did in Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, really?
That
I
was
didn't know
really their
that.
chipped teeth.
Oh my.
Yes.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
You are full of knowledge, dude.
I did I read up
Wow.
the stuff. I knew that about Jim Carrey. I know everything I know everything about Jim Carrey.
Right.
So
I know.
he's
Another one
like
of your
one of my
obsessions.
comedy heroes. One
Mhm.
of my comedy heroes. I just
Mhm.
think I still can die laughing at Ace Ventura. Like, I still know all the words of Ace Ventura, the first one, and I just think he's absolutely hysterical. We need to do something about.
We
We need to talk about
do.
Liar Liar,
We need
which
to
is
talk
like
about Liar Liar. That's
my
a good
favorite
one.
Jim Carrey
We
movie.
should really talk
I
about it. It's
quote
really,
that all
really
the
good.
time. Where do you think Big One?
I
Like, where do you
know.
think that came
I
from?
thought that came
Oh no,
from
that's
Cable
Dumb and
Guy.
Dumber. No, that's Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, no, that's from
That's
Cable
Dumb and
Guy.
Dumber.
Big
He does it
ones?
both. Big
does.
gulps. That's Dumb and Dumber. Big ones, it's Cable Guy.
Big
We
ones,
have
it's
to talk
Cable
about
Guy.
Cable Guy and Liar Liar.
So
we have
much.
to do a whole Jim
We have
Carrey.
to talk about. We have to. You know what? We should
we
start
have
a
to do like a month
podcast.
of Jim Carrey.
Let's start a podcast. Let's just start a
We
podcast.
have to start a podcast about Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
and
just I mean,
his comedy gold.
Right. Or we could just do a podcast called Put Your Books Down. Everybody.
We should just do that.
We should do that.
We should do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Listen, girlfriend, we could talk forever.
I know.
We could just talk or not talk forever.
And still find things to not talk about.
I know.
And then talk about not talking more.
And then also making sure people understand that you don't talk about the first rule of Put Your Books Down.
First two rules. No, we want you to break the first two rules of Put Your Books Down. We want you to talk about it and tell people about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about it all you want. Talk about it.
But if it makes you talk about it more by us telling you not to, that's how my brain works.
Oh, yeah.
Don't talk about it.
Don't, whatever you do, don't give us any, don't follow
reviews.
us.
Don't
review us. Please. Okay. So anyway, I love you. This has been a wonderful chat.
Yes, this is
Fight Club.
Really great.
I think in general, just in general,
like what at 9 out of 10? What would you give it? Like I'd give it.
I would.
I'd give it a 7.
I'm putting it at like an 8. I really liked it a lot. I really liked it a lot.
That's just so funny because I told you
thought I was going to hate it.
I was like, you're going to hate this movie.
I know, and I really loved it. I really did. So
well,
there it is. It's very violent, Mom. So don't watch it.
Right.
Anybody else that doesn't like violence, don't watch this. There's a lot of F-bombs. People, don't do it.
Yeah.
Are there? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right. Anyway, we love you all. Thank you for listening to our podcast. And like I said, like us and review us on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and all those places. We love you all. Natalie, I love you.
I love you, Angela.
And to you, I say namaste, remembering Bob Paulson.
I can't believe I was just.
Is that what you were going to say?
Namaste, Robert Paulson.
His name was Robert.
Name Paulson.
That's all. Love you. Bye. Bye. Now, isn't that better? Thanks for listening. Feel free to leave us a review and be sure to subscribe wherever you get your shows. Put Your Books Down is produced by ClantonCreative.com.